And Troy seized. And this is Geek Tank without Troy. Because Troy looks like he locked up just in time to start. Yep, I don't think he's coming back. Oh, well. We did manage to get ourselves started out here, and we started broadcasting, and he was having problems getting connected, which is why we're late this evening. And he gets connected, and it looks like it's just seized up on him, which that sucks. It's a bummer to hear. So here we are, just broadcasting in the Nowheresville. So we had the 4th of July. That was cool. Nothing like good old 4th of July and stuff. So got the chat going over here, but there's nothing in the chat. This may be one of those what's a widget? I don't even know what a widget is. Oh, what kind of widgets can we add? I do not know. Aw. Oh, he's back. But has exactly 2 frames before he disappears. Huh. I wonder how I can find widgets. It's like widgets I can add. That's kind of cool. Adding widgets is nifty. Wonder what kind of widgets we could add if we were to add widgets. What widgets would we add? Let's see. Widgets. What kind of widgets could we add? Let's see. Like things. What widgets there? Chat widget. Okay, yeah, that's a built-in one. Live chat, browser source. Yep, I'm getting messages now from him saying, I don't think this is working. Right? He's like, the moment you hit go, it exploded. So it exploded on him. So we're now waiting for him to desplode. I'm looking around and saying, what's a widget? Can I get a time widget? I wonder if I can get a time widget. That'd be cool. Time widget. Like, can I put a like a clock or something on here? That'd be cool. Oh yeah. Like stream elephants, stream elements. Like there are things that we can do where streaming elephants. I may give up on this plan tonight. I don't really have a battle plan for the show tonight, and I'm feeling remarkably gripey and cranky about stuff. Oh, look, he's joining. Let's see if we can get him in here. Oh, his mouth was moving.
Don't count on it lasting.
Don't count on it lasting though. But
yeah,
we've got sort of a thing.
I'm giving it all she can, Captain.
Giving it all she's got, sir.
Yeah, I don't know why everybody else's internet in the house is fine, but my PC is not happy. So
yeah,
I did the whole turn it off, turn it on again.
There you go.
So we'll see. I wouldn't count on me being here the entire time, though. I imagine it'll kick me out at some point.
Right.
Like the guest who stays too long at a party. I'll get kicked out at some time.
You get kicked out. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
But what if here's my home? Get out.
Well, get out. That's what our table's all about.
What'd you do last week when I wasn't around?
I'm not telling you because it's secret.
Oh, okay. Was it?
That's actually because I really just worked. But
you'd mentioned something about doing a live draw session.
Yeah, I never did. I was going to, and then I didn't. I keep meaning to do live draws and stuff like that, and I don't know. I keep losing steam on things, and I just like peter out. I did manage to, because of the sale, I did pick up City Skylines 2, and so I've been playing the newer version of City Skylines. And I mean, it's cool. There's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't seem to have. I mean, I understand why they did it. They did it for a couple of reasons. One, obviously, more money, but two, I'm sure that the core engine couldn't do some of the stuff that City Skylines 2 is doing. However, as was famously discussed when City Skylines 2 first came out, the program was rendering individual teeth for each individual person. And so at some point in time, your population hit a point where even the fastest machine on the planet couldn't possibly render all the teeth for the thousands upon thousands of people that are wandering around the streets of your town. And so that was a famous blunder. And it had a lot to do with the fact that they upgraded the people. The little people aren't, just little meeples running down the street anymore. Now they're actually fully rendered, randomly assigned human beings that you can, click on, and it has a life, whatever he's doing, and he's going to work right now, and you can follow this one individual through town. And I have enjoyed that in the past. That has been a lot of fun. I had a mod in my original version that allowed you to click on a car and follow the car. So the camera angle would change to the car, and you'd watch the car drive down your streets and turn around and go to his little job. And then he'd turn around and go back from his job and go home. And you could follow him as he drove through town, kind of getting an idea of what your town looked like from the ground, which was pretty cool. And that was one of my favorite mods, especially if you'd click on like police cars, because they would just patrol town. So you'd end up with them wandering around town for, 30 minutes, and they'd just be tootling around town the whole time.
Does that have any interaction with the game itself for like preventing crime? Because when I played, I only got to play for a little bit and didn't get to see everything Skylines 1 could do. But do you have to have police in the town to help lower crime rates? Does it monitor that the way that SimCity does?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
City Skylines is pretty much SimCity.
Okay. So you
In
get
fact,
the natural
if you
disasters.
know all of your SimCity rules, they fit really well with City Skylines. You need to make sure you have a cop in each,
Fire,
police station has to be in each section, and you have to have a fire station. You have to have a hospital, or people start dying and can't get the bodies out fast enough. And
gotcha.
Yeah, so it is. I really enjoy it. The difference was that SimCity killed itself off pretty good with its last little iteration, because it was just not popular at all. And I'm trying to remember exactly what happened, because I was there on that one. It was mobile. That was one.
Oh,
you could only play it on your phone.
It probably had that time thing where you can only do certain things up to a certain amount of time, and you have to wait an hour before you could do more stuff.
Exactly. They were trying that game, and I mean, I'm having a problem right now with my kiddo, who's decided to try to perfect one of those games, and literally the only way to perfect it is to get 3 of these items that you can only honestly get about once a year. So you have to play it nonstop
or buy
3 years,
or give them money.
Yeah, well,
which
it's
you don't.
And I'm sure that this is a point of pride for my kiddo.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I was saying, well, I don't know if you've got the ability to spend the next 3 years doing that, but and then the response was, oh yeah, no, you just let it go on autopilot, and it does these things and as long as your screensaver doesn't turn on, you're fine. And I'm like, well, how is this any kind of fun? You're not playing it for 3 years. You're just leaving it on one machine constantly. And then
the cost of the computer too.
Yeah, the
You
little
know,
nefarious part of my brain that always thinks these things out is like, if I were a Russian spy, I would build this game which says, "Oh, you got to just leave it running for 3 years. It's fine." You know,
works best with government computers.
right? Exactly. I don't know what they'd want to get out of a teenager's, room, but
Log on through the White House and receive 10 extra gold coins.
right, right. Run this at White House, and you will get an
Yeah.
extra cookie.
Yes.
But I mean, like, it's particularly funny. I obviously do not actually believe that that's the case, but there's always that part of me, the part that I assume would keep writing stories for the rest of my life, if I could do that. So yeah, it's that was kind of a funny little discussion to have with my kid this morning. Like, you what? Well, in order to perfect it, I'm gonna have to run it for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What happens if the power goes out?
Stick with games that have cheat codes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember PlayStation. I'm sorry, Super Nintendo, and not having a save feature, so you just leave your system on all night, so you can pick up again in the morning.
Right. Where is? Oh, I see.
What's up?
I was trying to figure out where this shadow is coming from, and it's from my microphone.
Oh, what's interesting is I can't see it because your space panels of outer space are blocking it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but this is my microphone right here.
So I see what you're saying.
Yeah, like the shadow right through here.
It's actually the love sausage standing there.
It is a love sausage.
It's whap.
That is. And by the way, if you're wondering, we are watching The Boys and Gen V in correct order, so alternating back and forth between the two, so that we get them all in the correct order, which, by the way, has been really fun. But the thing about The Boys and Gen V is I'm always like, there is no way they're going to get crasser and weirder than this here. Oh, well, there they did.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that every episode. It's like every episode, I'm like, there's no way this could get worse. Oh, look, it just got worse.
What's great is in the last episode, a character actually acknowledged that. I was saying to one of the other characters, just when I think you've sunk your lowest, you can sink lower.
I know. I was like, and there is the show.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, I'm enjoying every last minute of it. Oddly, had a very interesting discussion with my kid last night about, like, what is weird and what is normal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is defined as weird and what is defined as normal. And the discussion, of course, was some people find two men kissing to be very weird and inappropriate, and we're pushing normal past that line. Like, that's becoming normal. That doesn't stop me from still finding it somewhat uncomfortable, but that's none of my business. Like, I don't need to be stopping that. And the discussion was because I find all kissing somewhat uncomfortable because of my autism.
That's a very important thing to add to that.
Right. And that's so funny because of autism, I don't know where to look. I don't know what I'm supposed to feel. I don't know.
Any public display of affection.
Right. It
throws you off.
Throws me off, and it makes me. And over the years, of course, I hide it. I mask it because I understand that that's something that other people are totally cool with, and I should. And so I mask it. But it is fascinating to note because when people are sitting there talking about shoving it down your throat sort of stuff, where they're talking about gay people pushing their agenda, I'm like, I'm rendered uncomfortable by all of it. And I can tell you right now that men kissing men is a very small portion, or women kissing women is a very small portion. And, like, it is not even remotely close to parity, much less an overrun. Like, it's not like you're getting 60% men kissing men. I can pretty much tell you right now, it all is weird to me.
What's not weird, though,
is our sponsors, which oddly came up quickly here because
we started late.
We started so late. But we should tell you that Geek Tank is sponsored by Kieran Games, Geekway Homes, and Your
Your
mom.
mom,
Your mom.
who may or may not be weird based off of subjectivity. But
Which
yeah, I definitely think it's important to put the disclaimer on, because if in a vacuum, if all you say is watching a guy kiss another guy makes me uncomfortable, that immediately sounds like that is a specific. If you say a human kissing another human makes me uncomfortable,
well, and
that's more accurate.
the discussion was, well, I mean, there's a lot of things that make me uncomfortable that I don't say anything about because
Mhm.
that's not a problem. It is not an issue.
Yeah, you remove
Um,
yourself from the situation.
right? I mean, like, I do not like rap music and angry people. I've
I
never liked angry voices.
Yeah,
But
that's not going to work as a Dr. Seuss poem. That's
I
too
know.
long. Cadence is
Um,
off.
but I don't have a problem with rap. I don't have a problem with anybody else listening to rap music.
Hmm.
I just personally don't care for it. And that's just me. And it really turns out that I don't like angry voices generally, angry male voices. And
So death metal.
yeah, death metal is not really, although it's not something I've listened to a whole lot. And oddly, death metal has its own problems because of my auditory processing issues. Like it all just sounds like static in my head.
Mhm.
And so like death metal doesn't bother me simply because it all sounds like so I can't tell what's going on anyway.
Mhm.
So I can't hear the angry voices. But it's funny because what kind of prompted this was a discussion about why people find people uncomfortable and why when it becomes this like level of when do you decide that
Mhm.
someone else is being inappropriate. And the discussion was really funny because I was bringing up things like public nudity or public sex, and like the discussion was, no, all of that's gross, and I'm like, well, yeah, but why? Like,
And
well,
where's the
because
line?
it is
Where's the line on the nudity? Because some
right,
clothing is practically nudity. If you look at some two-piece bikinis, speedos,
right,
anything that like leaves nothing to the imagination other than the color of what's under there, which you can guess based off of the color just above and below.
right,
Unless for some reason that very tiny torso section is colored different.
right.
Um, but
But it,
anyway,
yeah,
yeah, it's I mean it's just, and words on shirts making
right,
people uncomfortable.
yeah. And I was thinking that too. We were at Spencer's today, and there was a hoodie at Spencer's that had the favorite word of butcher on it, and
Oi,
yeah, that's it.
that's it.
And I was like, okay, but as funny as that is, in boys, it's pretty brutal to hear him say it all the time. But that is also a normal word in
Mhm.
Australia, so it's not
I
as
think he's supposed to be British.
well. He may be, but in Australia, the c word is used quite a bit.
Same for
And
England and Britain.
oh, I never heard it as much in British. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Just never heard it.
Yeah, I think. Well, I
Anyway,
mean, there is a strong connection between England and Australia as well.
no,
So
there isn't. You just
okay,
made
fine.
that up.
I did.
Like
I like to make
yeah,
up my own histories.
right. Just like there's no strong connection between Britain and this place either.
No, no, no.
No. Anyway,
So there's something about tea,
right.
but I think because we like it iced and they don't. But
Weirdos.
that's what they say
They're
about
really
us.
weird. Yeah. It's because we invented the refrigerator for that reason. That's the entire
Mhm.
reason.
Mhm.
They were going to throw the refrigerators off the boats
Yeah.
during the Boston Tea Party, but then they were too valuable.
Mhm.
So instead, just threw the tea itself off
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
boats. There we go. Now you heard it here, guys. This is what you've heard today.
Sure. It's as close as anything you'll find in some people's opinions.
I was about to say I've been watching some videos where I'm like, what?
Mhm.
And some of that stuff just really gets to me because I'm like I mean like I don't want to get too terribly into politics, but the recent SCOTUS thing where people are talking about birthright citizenship, I literally last semester studied the actual reason why that 14th was ratified, and it involved a Chinese guy.
Yeah.
Like they keep talking about it being slavery things, and I'm like, it wasn't. It was totally brought about by a Chinese guy, and I'm like, and I don't. I mean, like, I'm like, it's not even hard to find that piece of information.
Hmm.
Like, and I literally read about it. I read about the ruling. I read about the fact that, I mean, the story of the guy is actually kind of fascinating. He, his parents came over from China. They were doing business here, but it took them forever because this is the 1800s. It takes forever for you to do business. You end up doing business over 20 years. Well, they had a kid here, and the kid was in San Francisco, grew up in San Francisco, went to San Francisco schools, had buddies there and everything like that. And so when the Chinese couple went back to China, they said, "You want to go with us?" And he's like, I don't know anything about China. I'm American." And so they went, "Okay." And they left him. And then, like, later, he decides to go visit them, as you do, because that's his parents. So he
Hmm.
goes and visits them. But we had enacted the Chinese exclusion laws, which prevented anybody from China coming back into America. So he came back from his visit, and they said, "You can't come in. You're Chinese." And he's like, "I'm not Chinese. I'm from San Francisco." And they said, "You look Chinese." And he's like, "So? I'm from San Francisco." And then he ultimately sued. And during the entire time that he was suing the government, he had to live on a boat because they wouldn't let him step foot on
Hmm.
America. And so he had to live on this boat the entire time. They wouldn't let him go back to his house in San Francisco. They wouldn't let him do anything. I think he even had like a girlfriend. They wouldn't let him see her. It was like this bizarre thing. And then finally the Supreme Court said, "No, 14th covers you. You were born here, and pretty
Hmm.
much you're American, and it's obvious you're American." So, and
Yeah,
that,
it's crazy that it's 2026 and there are people who are happy with the concept of, sorry, you look Chinese, you got to go.
Mhm. But they keep saying it's about slavery, and I'm like, it isn't. It's
No.
about, if you guys are ever wondering, look up, it's Wong Kim Ark, 1898. That's his name, and he's the one who fought to
Hmm.
get that squared away. But
Yeah,
it was
it's crazy
1898.
how it's the new thing is going to be trying to prevent pregnant women from other countries from coming to visit.
Yeah, I thought that was funny
Yeah.
because, of course, that wouldn't stop the situation. That was the whole thing. Like,
Mhm.
they didn't come over here to drop off a kid. They came over here to do business. They were doing business. They went home. He was the one that said, I don't want to go
Yeah.
home. I don't know anything about China." You know, he was the one who was like, "Hey, I'm an American now." It was the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's back to
It's
the same
crazy.
problem that I have with Japan, with the Japanese during World War II, that I've spent so much time and effort now studying. And that is that, you know, these were Americans. And I
Hmm.
keep saying that every time I was there. When I go to Siamachi, which is the relocation center here in Colorado, it's out on the plains, the eastern plains. It's close to Kansas in southeastern Colorado. That's horrible.
Hmm.
Like, every time we're out there, it's 90 something ridiculous degrees. And I know that during the wintertime it snows. And they moved Californians out there. They were like, and everybody goes, "Well, they were Japanese." And I'm like, "No, they were Californians." And I think that's the important thing that makes it all different, in my opinion. Because you could say, "Well, they're Japanese." Okay. Except that they never saw Japan. They were never at Japan. And there's nothing biological about you that makes you secretly Japanese internally. So if you're born and raised in California, you're Californian. Like, your body is kind of like here. We're Coloradans. We were raised here. After about 10 or 15 years, your lungs change so that you can deal with the high altitude and stuff like that. Like, your body is acclimated to Colorado. That makes you Coloradan. And I don't know.
Hmm. And it was 1960, right? Or what? When was that camp?
The camp,
Or like when they got closed? That was actually the 40s, wasn't it?
it was 43.
43.
Well, They the camp stayed open till 45.
Okay.
So it's 42 through 45 was Camp Hamachi. And it was during World War II. You know what I just recently found out? And this is one of those things that makes me go, oh, oh, that's a thing. And I found out about it, by the way, from an influencer that I follow. And not normally do I say I find stuff out from these influencers, but she is really good about what she's talking about. And she was talking about, her question was, whose independence are we celebrating, because she's black.
Mm-hmm.
And I got it, and I understood what she was saying. But she was like, not the Japanese, because they were put into these internment camps and the government knew that they weren't a threat. And I went, what? And then she said, you should look up the Muncie report, or Muncie something report. But there's this report that the Navy put into place in 1941 saying, if we go to war, are the Japanese in America any threat at all? And the report was, the communists are more of a threat than the Japanese are. Our Japanese are really American. They're not a problem at all. And the government ignored it and threw them in internment camps anyway. And I think just that piece right there just added the whole icing to the cake. Like, I'm like, wait, you mean we actually did a study and the study failed? And I'm just like appalled by this. I'm like, I didn't even know.
And it's become a bigger practice too, because there's people that believe the numbers they're told about, this is what's happening, therefore we have to do this. So it's not an abuse of human rights because they're killing and murdering all of us and everything. And it's like, your numbers are weird and wrong. And does that mean that people who are American or get a pass because they're American, even though they're killing, murdering, and doing all the bad stuff to people? But yeah, I mean, the boys touches on the concept of intern camps.
Yeah,
internment camps, and how if they don't like you, they put you in there. Doesn't matter if you really are a target or not, or a threat. And it's the question of the treatment becomes a thing, because even if you are technically undocumented, you deserve to be treated as a human. And there are people who are like, no, only Americans get to have human rights.
Right.
Because if you're here illegally, you don't get the same benefits of that. And that's a weird concept to me of just dehumanizing others.
By the way, that report, just so that we can make sure that our facts are straight, was called the Munson Report, Munson. In October and November of 41, Special Representative of the State Department, Curtis B. Munson, under Roosevelt's orders, carried out an intelligence gathering investigation of the loyalty of Japanese Americans. His report concluded that Japanese Americans are loyal and would pose little threat. He wrote, quote, there is no Japanese problem on the coast. There is a far more danger from communists and people on the bridges type. I don't know what the bridges type is on the coast than there is from the Japanese. So just so that my point is backed up by facts. So that if I ever have to come back and look this up again and go, what was that report called? That's right. We said it on Geek Tank. So
haven't you learned yet that facts don't matter?
It's all about feelings.
Yeah. The more you show facts to people that don't fit what they want, the less they want to hear your facts, guy.
Yeah, but it's funny because I've been studying that for 2 years now, a year and a half now. I've been part of the Amachi project working on this, and nobody has mentioned that one before. And there's a lot of a big point.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of history that should be out there that people don't want us to know about, and we're going the wrong direction again. Of like, if it's not complimentary or make us look like the heroes, don't talk about it.
Yeah,
it's like, but it's history.
Well, and people don't know about it now because we spent so long not talking about it. And so now people are like, there's no way we would possibly ever do this. And I'm like, we did. we did it. We literally did it. And that's the other thing. Like, the amount of disinformation is alarming. Alarming. I mean, besides the obvious socialist communist thing, which always makes me mad, because I've always considered myself a New Deal Democrat. That's what I've always said. But the New Deal was socialism. And that's pretty much straight up like what it was. And so that makes me a socialist to some degree. And so if people ever catch wind of that, the next question then is, wait, so you want to like bury thousands of people in you? No, that's communism. It's a completely different thing. And it's fascinating because actually, if you look at the history of the United States, socialism has been decried numerous times. So much so that Harry Truman made a quote of something to the effect of, socialism was what they call us helping all of our people. It's also what they will use to slam us in the face every time we try to help our people. Like, Truman said it. Like, that's how long ago this has been going on. FDR puts in democratic socialist progress in, and it pulls us out of the Great Depression. And Harry Truman comes through. Eisenhower uses socialism to build our entire interstate network system and to bring us out of a potential depression right there. You know what I mean? Like, it keeps coming back over and over and over, but people keep arguing that it's communism because Ronald Reagan in 1968 confused those two. And so everybody keeps messing up socialism for communism. And it's so weird. Hello, Brent. You're not the only one troubleshooting problems with their PC. Apparently Troy is too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's only so much shooting I can do. But speaking of history, it's covered up and connecting it to geek stuff. How many white people who had never heard of the massacres in Tulsa learned about it through the TV series Watchmen?
Right? Me. Like, me.
Because it's not talked about in
made
schools.
Up. Like, when that first episode started, I thought that was this is an interesting part of their plot and backstory. Interesting.
Yeah, because it's already kind of a twisted history because they had a different person win presidency.
Right.
Paul Newman.
Right.
And so I could see how if you don't know, you're like, oh, this is just another part of history that they're twisting. But it happened.
Literally what happened to me. I watched that going, and I was like, oh, this is terrible. Oh, well, this is a good way to start a superhero that, like, okay, that's fair. It's a good way to start it. And then went and talked to a couple of people who were of color, and they were like, oh, no, Tulsa Massacre was real. I don't know. It wasn't. What? Oh, no. How did I not know this?
Because the school system is not allowed to talk about things like that. And it's, Well,
Brent's doing better than me. Brent's got better school. But that was the thing we were talking about, too. Like, I learned about Sand Creek Massacre from my native friends. And I learned about Amachi from my Japanese friends, but I learned neither of those in school.
Yeah.
And that was
for those who don't know, 1921 there was a huge massacre that happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and what they referred to as Black Wall Street. What's weird is if you think of the length of a country, because like a human span 100 years is a long time, but when you think of the length of a country, 100 years is 105 years is not that far back. That's 2 generations. Someone's kids could have been born and still be alive now, and their grandkids most definitely. Oh, see, it's not from school.
Get it from school either.
Didn't
get it from school either.
But it's scary and sad. We can't teach people about it. Is my guess of what people who would argue about that would be.
Right.
No, it's important to know these things. And I was going to make the connection too to geekness, since you're talking about the internship camps through George Takei.
Yep.
So
yeah, and that's the thing. Like, George Takei had started talking about it at one point in time, and I was like, I wonder if that's connected to the one that was here. because I didn't know. But recently, as I've gotten more and more educated, I found out he was at Tula Lake. And that's interesting too, because that's the hard one. That was the one where the no-nos went. So there was a group of people called the no-no boys. No-no boys meant that because they sent around this piece of paper that said, do you pledge your allegiance to the United States? And if so, A, would you go to war with them? And B, you know what I mean? Like, in other words, could we draft you into the war effort? And, like there was two questions, and neither one of them of their own were bad. Like, if in a vacuum, but if you look at it from like, it was like, do you pledge your allegiance to the United States, something like that. And 731, you mean Japanese unit 731? Because I know about Japanese unit 731. The Japanese don't talk about that either. We could get into an entire discussion about the Japanese not talking about their stuff. But the point was that these guys, if they said no to both of these questions, they were considered no boys, and they would be moved to Tula Lake, which was a high security prison. And that's where George Takei ended up. Moreover, bizarrely, that's where Pat Morita ended up. So Mr. Miyagi, he ended up there, even though it was bizarre. Like reading through his story was like a lot of them, which was his father got shipped off to Tula Lake, but his parents got shipped off to a different location, or his mom got shipped off to a different location. And then he went to the location with his mom, but then voluntarily transferred to the Tula Lake location, which was high security, because he wanted to be with his dad. And the family transferred. The whole family transferred up there. And it was like, that's interesting too. There's all kinds of weird little teeny sub stories that are all involved in here that are fascinating. And there's reasons behind all of this. And it's so interesting how little we know. Like, how little do we know of this? It's just, I don't know. I mean, this isn't where I wanted our show to go tonight, but I'm feeling pretty dark today anyway, just like having a dark evening. Sometimes you just have a bad evening, and this is kind of one of those. And so
Guy's going through his blue period.
Yeah, I'm going through my blue period. I'm always like, all the lights in here are blue, except for the broadcast lights. And my new flight wall, which is here. I love my flight wall. It's kind of hard to see it, but it's right here. I love this flight wall. It's telling me the airplanes that are directly above my house right now. Like, that's literally what's the flights that are right above my house within an 8-mile radius of my house.
What screen is that?
It's just this little really cool LED. I mean, they're not even. I mean, you can almost see the resolution. It's not. It's really low resolution, relatively speaking. But they're just LEDs glued together into a big wall. And I think the funniest part is, it was one of those things that showed up on my feed, and it's such a niche item because it's exactly the kind of thing that I would love. All it's doing is telling me what aircraft is directly above my house. That's it. And I can set it for anywhere. If I wanted to, I could set it so that it told me the aircraft directly above your house. The app lets me set the point. So this is 8 miles, and set the radius. So I actually had to tone the radius down, because if it hits the airport up the hill, all of a sudden all the planes are all little planes, Cessnas and everything like that. And I don't catch any of the big airliners at all, because it runs out of space. Can't handle it. But like earlier today, I had on the wall up here, I had an airplane, and it said destination unlogged, and it was like Shadow 105 or something like that. Like, the plane was like, I was like, oh, that's pretty creepy. I've had civil air all show up on here. That was kind of cool.
Where's its information from?
There's a website called Flight Radar, which is one of the That's actually probably how it knew that I liked this, was because I actually have an account with them, and that
Ah.
just tracks all the aircraft. It just knows where everything is. So I use Flight Radar a lot to track planes. If you tell me what flight you're on whenever you're on a
Mhm.
trip, I will happily and blissfully track your flight the whole time. Just keep an eye on you. If that's something you're into and wish to have me do, I will happily do that. The cool part is you can also do it now with a flight wall. They just set that up. Yeah, Flight Radar 24. That's it. So Brent's also on there. Um, but that's a site that usually tracks all the airplanes,
Mhm.
and you can set this thing to rig, so you can rig this so that it will follow your plane. So let's say you go on a trip and you say, hey, I'm going to go on the trip, here's my flight number. I'll type in the flight number up here, and this thing will just start reading your altitude and all of your
Mhm.
thing, the entire flight. It'll read all of that up here on the,
Yeah.
and it'll
Which,
track.
if you're recruited to pick somebody up from the airport, that's really
That's
handy.
awesome. That's actually, I'm often recruited to pick people up from the airport. So
Yep.
that is one of the things that I like. But anyway, I've been really enjoying my flight wall. But it's
Nice.
such a niche thing. You've got to be the kind of geek that I am, or clearly like Brent is,
Mhm.
to, like be the, oh, I got to have that. Yep. Rocket launches are great. It's always fun to watch a rocket launch on Flight Radar because you watch all the other planes. They're like flying around. Then all of a sudden they go, whoop. And they all get out of the way. And it's just so much fun. It's just
You
like
need
the best.
you need one of those. You need one of those for cars in your neighborhood. You're like, oh, that's the kind of car I want to look at, and because
Right.
since you're a car guy as well.
Yep. I'm a car guy. I'm a ship guy. I'm a rocket
Mhm.
guy. I'm a plane guy. But yeah. And I was like, I had to get one of these because it absolutely, totally is the kind of geeky thing I would totally do.
Mhm.
And it was just such a great thing. So, I mean,
So
it's
after 4th of July, after you headed home, were you get any more unhappy fireworks going off, or did people settle
no,
down?
not really.
That's good.
Although we did have the weirdest thing. So I left your place and um, drove up on Wadsworth, got onto Wadsworth, and just about at Alameda, I come up behind Anna. She's directly in front of me. Okay, no problem, cool. We were both heading the same way. That's not a problem. But Kevin had gone the other direction, so I was like, well. And so I'm driving along, and I keep going. And I lost her at a light or whatever. We hit the point where the light turned yellow right between us or whatever. It wasn't a big deal.
Hmm.
I get up to 72nd, and Kevin pulls up right next to me, and he took the freeways. And there happened to be a slowdown on I-25, so he ended up slowing down and ended
Hmm.
up exiting just as I headed up Wadsworth underneath I-70, and he picked me up there, and he'd been catching up with me the entire way, and finally got. But that was pretty funny.
Yeah,
It
been
was just,
funnier if
I'm like, what are
somehow
the odds?
and Anna pulls up next to you. That'd be
Yeah.
interesting.
I was like, what
Yeah,
are the odds that all three of us would make it back here at the exact same
yeah.
time? But yeah, nothing else happened that night.
Okay. Yeah, we got together. I had the idea that I wanted to show my guys Independence Day.
It's such a
one of
goofy
one of the kiddos bombed out, which I was disappointed of, and then your kiddo bombed out, which was disappointing.
also made me sad. Yeah.
Yeah, but two of mine made it, and the rest of us got to watch it. It is such a goofy movie, but also fun.
Yeah, it is.
I've lost count of how many times I've seen it because, of course, I've seen it a lot.
So many
It's
times. Sure.
probably been a few years since I last saw it. But I've only seen the sequel once, and that's all I needed. It's like, nah, this is not even good.
I didn't even remember there was a sequel.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. So, yeah, it's one of those where they were just going off of the strength of the name Independence Day.
Yeah.
I can't even remember if any of the actors. I know that
It's so funny watching it now because I don't think I've seen it since the 90s, 2000s ish. I mean, I used to watch it all the time, but I don't think I've seen it very much recently. But it's funny because, and of course, like I told you, the reason I went to see that movie ever was because Brett Spiner was in it. That was the only reason for me to go see it. And then he gets himself killed off pretty quickly. So that was pretty funny. Spoilers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They should have
for free.
Yeah. They should have
You have to
paid
pay
you for
me
your
for that
time.
money now, or for that movie now.
Okay, so it did have Jeff Goldblum and Bill Pullman, which I've totally blocked out of my head that they were even in that.
Yeah.
And Judd Hirsch came back, but yeah, there was no Will Smith.
Yeah, that's what I remember. And Will Smith really makes that movie, and it's pretty funny. But yeah, I watching that movie now, I was like, and Mary McDonnell, who shows up as definitely a statesperson who then promptly has to die because that's a requirement. Apparently, she does that in Battlestar Galactica too. Shows up as a statesperson that promptly has to die. Although she doesn't, she just keeps dragging out her dying
Yeah,
through the entire run.
yeah, he was just sleeping guy.
He was sleeping.
His parrot is not dead.
That's probably fair. Except that, I'm sure if you talk to Brent Spiner about it, he hoped he died.
Especially when he found out there was a sequel.
Right?
Oh,
Oh
right.
no. Oh
Yeah,
no.
He needed money.
You know what? Brent Spiner isn't even enough of a reason for me to see the sequel.
I must have blocked that out entirely. I think it came out in 2016, so it's clearly been 10 years since I watched it.
It came out when?
Let me double check. I think I'm correct on that date. All right. I know it has the date on here somewhere. Well, apparently, I'm looking in all the wrong places for the date.
Looking for dates in all the wrong places.
Yeah, 2016.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I also went into a coma for that amount of time, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So it was 20 years after the first one, because the first one was 1996.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a significant...
A long time. Haven't seen something like that since, like, Star Wars or Blade Runner.
Yeah, I mean...
I went to cleaning today for my teeth, and the hygienist that was working, we were talking. Well, she was mostly talking since I have her working,
right?
But talked about how she had finally saw Star Wars because her husband talked her into it, and I was and she's like, I wanted to watch it all, so that just get it all watched. Now I didn't ask about like Rogue One or anything. I was getting the impression it was just episodes 1 through 9.
Wow.
And I'm like, what order did you watch them in? He's like, I watched them in order because I wanted to follow the story. It's like, but that's not how the story was meant to be. But what I thought was interesting, because her take was Darth Vader was a victim. And was basically forced to be a bad guy.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. And I like the recommended suggestion that you watch A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, then go to Phantom Menace and watch 1, 2, and 3, because you get the surprise reveal of Vader, and then you get to go back and get that backstory, and then when you come into the last movie, you get the full circle of his story.
I was to say that the big "I am your father" is completely wasted if you've watched 1, 2, and 3 first. I agree. 1, 2, and 3 should be like a flashback. Time to get some serious. Okay, you know what? Yeah, it's not. And we all know that I will go out of my way to watch the actors of Star Trek do other things, but there are limits. There are limits, and
you could look up just his scenes, so that way you don't have to watch the whole movie.
You don't have to watch it.
Yeah.
Well, I think all my lights are about to change color because we've gone over by 5 minutes.
Yeah, because we started 15 minutes late.
Yeah, so we started 15 minutes late, but I think it's time for Brent to head for bed pretty soon anyway.
Do appreciate you showing up.
Yep, do appreciate you being here. As always, Brent, we always appreciate you. And we appreciate all the others who are watching as well. And even if you're watching at a later time.
Or just listening.
or just listening at a later time, or listening at a now time, or
Mhm.
anything.
Or watching but not listening, which would be really weird
Or
because there's not a lot to
just
see.
taking the interpretive dance parts that we were doing when we were doing our interpretive
Yeah.
dance.
Just reading the comments and not knowing
Yeah.
what the reference is.
Just yeah, whatever, however you consume this. If you're
Mhm.
drinking this, yep, there go my lights. And that's it. Time's out.
Mhm.
That's we're just out of time now. So
Yeah. So next time,
although it is cool now that my flight wall is like really bright now because it's nothing else out here. All right. Well, then we should probably get ourselves going.
Yep.
Until next time, I've been Guy.
I've been Troy.
And this